Yo, Beth, that shit crazy.
On a Saturday, it's All Even with your boy Barry Grant. You can catch me on Instagram and Twitter at All Even Podcast. You can listen to the show on SoundCloud as well as YouTube, Anchor, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Breaker, and wherever you find your podcasts available. What a beautiful Saturday it is. Lots to get into. NFL news, we have the Urban Meyer situation. We have more moving parts in Houston. I have my good friend Brandon Edwards coming on the show today for Phone a Friend. That's going to be very interesting because me and him go back and forth. So, we'll see if he behaves himself today. And then the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week. So let's just jump right into it. Sometimes in relationships, things can go well or things can go pretty bad, or you can just be able to just part ways amicably because both of you guys have grown individually and grown apart. J.J. Watt and the Houston Texans are in that phase, that amicable phase, where they tried to make things work. He was there for a long time, and now he wants to go elsewhere. He wants to see if he can be able to compete for a championship in the last remaining years of his career. And the Texans obliged. They said, okay, you've done right by us. We're going to do right by you. But you have some people that are not happy with this because it's like, oh, well, how did J.J. Watt end up getting his requests honored, but Deshaun Watson can't get out of Houston? They're two different situations. They're on two different arcs in their careers. J.J. Watt is on the tail end of his Hall of Fame career, and Deshaun Watson is at the start of his. So they're not the same. J.J. Watt has so much mileage and goodwill within this organization. His philanthropy work outside of football. He's done so much for the game and outside of it that you're going to honor that man's request. I'm not saying Deshaun Watson won't be able to get there, but he ain't there yet. And also, he's getting paid $39 million. They don't want to get rid of their quarterback. They love Deshaun Watson. They hope that they can be able to repair the relationship. So it's not the same dynamic. Everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I get it. But there's sometimes, boy, where, you talk to certain people who think that they're sports fans. They think that they know everything. And it's just like, you don't understand this one. So just bow out. It's not for you. This conversation here, it's over your head. So just stop. And this is one of those. They're not the same thing. Where J.J. Watt lands, that's a different story. Does he land with his brother in Pittsburgh? That's a dumpster fire over there right now. I don't know if he wants to go over there, although TJ's there. We hear Dallas. We hear Green Bay. So we'll see exactly where JJ goes, but he can go anywhere he wants. He has to be able to find the right place for him. Hey, maybe he ends up on the Bucs. Everybody else wants to go there too, right? With Tampa Bay. So we'll see what happens. But Deshaun Watson, listen, it's not the same thing. And I just hope that they can be able to repair that relationship and just play football. I see the Texans really trying to do some good things. Have they made mistakes? Absolutely. Have they fell over themselves? Absolutely. Have they put their foot in their mouth? Absolutely. But give them a chance to make it right, because what I see an organization that is not digging in their heels and stuck in their ways. They're trying. And that's all you can ask for. But I'm not going to lie to you. This new trend of quarterbacks wanting to axe out and, I want more say in the organization and blah, blah, blah. Like, this is the NFL. This ain't the NBA. I don't want both of the sports operating the same way. I just don't. I'm not into that. Russell Wilson talking about he wants more say in personnel decisions. You took the bag. You took $35 million from that team. Yet you want more say in personnel decisions? How about you give back $15 million? Then you can have say in personnel decisions. It's just too much. To me, it's just like, I want the quarterbacks to be old school. Just think old school. This is my organization. I'm going to make sure that I bring this organization to respectability. That's my job. My job is not to poach around for the best situation. You can be able to do that in the later parts of your career. If you're still playing at 35, 36, 37 and over. The Seahawks are not a bad franchise. They've won a Super Bowl. They got to another one the following year. They're not a bad franchise. Have they drafted poorly since the Legion of Boom? Absolutely. Can they be able to get back on track? Absolutely. Because like I always say, franchises are cyclical. They go through their down periods and then they have their boom periods. That's all. So if Russell really wants to win all those commercials that he has, give back some money. Do the Tom Brady thing. If you actually want to have that type of level of dynasty. If you want to have your cake and eat it too, it ain't going to happen here. Won't happen anywhere, actually. Because quarterbacks that make a certain level of money end up hurting the team in the long run. To build a team in football, you need to have your quarterback make a certain amount. It's just the way it is. You got guys out there that want their bag. Hey, go ahead. But don't complain about winning then. Don't complain. Be happy with the $35 or $40 million you're getting. But don't complain about you having to run around all the time and maybe the team runs the ball too much and maybe we should change things up on offense. No. You took the bag. You're okay with how things are going. That should have been in your negotiation tactic. Before you signed that contract, you should have been like, well, listen, I'm not going to sign this unless offensive things change. Because we would have saw those changes if that was the case, right? Think about it. All of a sudden, one guy starts complaining, and then everybody's like, yeah, me too. I also have a problem. Get out of here with that. It's just like the dude, if you're in a movie theater, and he gets up and runs, everybody going to look at that dude, and somebody else going to run. And then everybody starts to run. They got to get this in order. Like, you can't have every year quarterbacks are just flipping teams. No. It's not the way it is, because if that's the case, then teams are not going to commit long-term dollars to quarterbacks anymore. You guys will mess it up for everybody else. So, it's just food for thought. We'll see what the hell happens in this offseason. But I'm hoping not too much at the quarterback position. Coming up after the break, Phone a Friend with my boy Brandon. On a Saturday, it's all even. I've had so many people tell me that Anchor is great. Anchor is this, Anchor is that. But I have to tell you, man, those people were right. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your own podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Why wait? Get at it now. Welcome back, y'all. So let's get to my favorite segment, Phone a Friend.
Call him up, 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 call him up. Competing for a reason, trying to stay undefeated, yeah. Call him up, 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 call him up. Next game of the season, don't lie, we're all leaving, yeah.
Who we have on the show today is one of my good buddies. I've known him for a long time, which is pretty annoying. But, he's my brother. I love him to death. Welcome to the show, Brandon Edwards.
What's going on, brother?
All right. I'm just here, man. I'm just here doing the show like I do every Saturday, so I'm happy that you're here. We always talk sports. It's always a heated conversation. A lot of people hear our conversations and they say, do you guys hate each other? I'm like, nah, that's just how we speak. We elevate our voices to get our points across. So it's all love. It's all love, all the way.
That's a fact. That's a definite fact.
Yeah. So obviously let's start with the Super Bowl. A lot of people are still kind of shocked about how the game went. Not saying that, the outcome about who won was not a shock, but in regards to how the game was played, everybody thought that it would be a high-powered Super Bowl, high-scoring Super Bowl, two quarterbacks duking it out. Maybe the defenses are not playing so well, but maybe a last possession type of game would win this game. What were your thoughts about how the Super Bowl went down? And, what are your thoughts about Tom Brady's legacy in regards to what this means for him historically?
Well, for me, as you know, being a longtime Jet fan, I can't stand Tom Brady. Hate him. My mother hates him. Like, we all hate Tom Brady. But at the end of the day, just like, how I've always told you about how Kobe, how I felt about Kobe. Like, right. I didn't like him as a player. I hated him, but you got to respect talent.
Right.
And Brady he keeps on defying the odds, man. Like, he honestly does. And it's sickening, but he just does what he does. And you can't take that from him. You just can't take that from him. So looking at the game, I was really surprised because they had no answer for Todd Bowles' defense. Like, literally had no answer for Todd Bowles' defense. And I felt like they didn't even make any adjustments in the second half either. And it was just like, like we talked about, the game was just like, what kind of game is this? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you was expecting a shootout and we didn't even get that. But yeah, I mean, total domination by the Tampa Bay, and you just gotta give your hats to him, man. Like, in all honesty.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like, you know how I feel about Brady. I think Brady is a witch doctor. I believe that, things always tend to work out in his favor. Like, look. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon. Like, let's just go through the series of events that happened prior to the Super Bowl game, right? In the Bills game, they lose their left tackle. The Chiefs lose their left tackle in the game, right? In the AFC Championship game. Fine. They get into Super Bowl week. Now they have a COVID scare, right? They have a COVID scare. They have to go get tested and do tracing and all this stuff. And Andy Reid's idiot son gets into a DUI crash and almost, kills two children.
Right.
And all of these things are going on, and then they lose another tackle. And then on top of that, Patrick Mahomes has a toe issue. All of these things happen to the Chiefs. Nothing happened to the Bucs. I just don't understand how this can happen. I just don't listen. Granted, I'm gonna respect Brady. He got the 7 rings. Cool, but it just feels a little witch doctorish to me that these things can just be able to happen, and it never happens to Tom Brady. Bad things never happen to Tom Brady when it comes to football. And for me, it just feels a little bit like divine intervention. Like I'm saying, like the football gods have said to him, you will never lose. It's fine. And if you do lose, we have an excuse why you lost. It's not your fault, because even when the Eagles lost to beat the Patriots, remember, everybody put the blame on Bill Belichick for not playing Malcolm Butler, right?
Right.
Oh, he benched Malcolm Butler. That's the reason why they gave up so many yards. Nobody put the blame on Brady because he threw for 500 yards in the game. It's never Brady's fault. It's never his fault. And for me, that's what bothers me about the whole Brady lore. Like, okay, people want to call him the GOAT. I don't consider him my GOAT because, we had this conversation off air that I define GOAT a little differently. Like, I compare Tom Brady, and I think you're going to like this analogy. I compare Tom Brady
DJ
to Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Because if you think about Tim Duncan wasn't a flashy guy. There was nothing that Tim Duncan did on the basketball floor that made you say, man, that guy is just fantastic. Like he just pops off the page, but the numbers are there, and he was a leader, and he gave back in regards to salary to keep the team relevant for that long. So when you compare the Patriots and the Spurs dynasties, they're very similar. They have a great coach. They have a great spearhead guy. They've won a lot, and they didn't lose that much. So it's very similar. And then you can look at Tim Duncan and say he's the greatest power forward of all time. But we're never going to call Tim Duncan the GOAT, right? But he was one of the best players in his generation. He was a staple for winning. And the thing with me is that there's nobody that is a greater winner than Tom Brady, all because of the entire package, how he commands the respect in his locker room, how he can be able to talk to, the best player on the team and also relate to, the 52 guy, the 52nd guy on the team. Like, he has that type of leadership quality. And I love that about him. But everybody likes to, like, I had a conversation on my live on Wednesday. I had some people in there and they were, Brady, he can make every throw. No, he can't.
No, he can't.
Brady has never been the guy to make every throw. He's never like he's good, but he's like I said, he's a Tim Duncan. He does not jump off the page in regards to physical talent. Yeah. It's just that when you look at the numbers, historically, he's played a long time. He has the touchdown record. Those are great accolades because it shows that he can be, durable over time. That's great. But when I look at the GOAT situation, it has to be how you change the game. And for me, Brady did not change the game. He just won at an alarming rate. That's the whole thing with me. Like, Peyton Manning changed the game. How we look at the quarterback position today is because of him. It's because of Peyton Manning. It's not because of Tom Brady. Tom Brady is going to be the staple for being a professional and sacrificing salary for making your franchise better. That's the legacy that he leaves. So hopefully more quarterbacks will take that route. I doubt it, but that's his legacy. And I just don't like that GOAT conversation. People like to throw it around too much in every sport. And the actual real definition of GOAT is greatest of all time. So what that means is that you are the best football player or basketball player or baseball player that has ever stepped on that particular field or court. That's what it means. It doesn't it's if you want to call him the greatest winner of all time, I will accept that and I will fight for that. You know what I mean? I will definitely say I can't argue. I can't argue. Right. But the GOAT conversation, to me, it's just come on now.
I mean, I hear you, man, and like I've been telling you, like, you got to understand too that I feel like everybody is always going to have a different opinion. You know what I'm saying? And everybody wants their opinion to be validated, right? So at the same time, you got to also take into context other people's views as far as how they view Brady. You know what I'm saying? Like that, like, somebody who's a diehard Brady guy and has been watching him, let's just say since Michigan, is going to have a totally different opinion than what you just said. Now, like, how I feel, like I don't want to call Tom the GOAT, but in my eyes, like, I just feel a person, like you said, who does not have that talent and could be that great of a winner, to me, that is GOAT level, because he did it in a way in which, you know what I'm saying, he didn't have the necessary talent as a Pat Mahomes or as a Peyton Manning, or, you know what I'm saying, like, just like athletic, more gifted. Tom Brady is just, he's on point. He's simple. He's, you know what I'm saying, short, think, and dunk. He could stretch the field a little bit, not much, but you know what I'm saying? He's just good. He knows how to win. He knows how to play to win. And you can't coach that. You can't teach that. And we see a lot of people who have a lot of athletic ability, but have no IQ. You know what I'm saying? They don't know how to play the game. All they know is that they're just really talented.
Right.
So everything has to come together full circle. And that's why I just believe, I see what you're saying and I agree with what you're saying, but I also feel like the fact that he does have that less talent puts him into that GOAT status because he did it without those physical attributes.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, listen, like I said, man, I can agree to disagree. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the beauty about sports, is that we have our opinions and you can't fight somebody on their opinion. We can only argue. We can argue numbers. We can do that. But if that's your opinion, if that's how you view the game, that it's like, okay, like, I'm going to make my case. You're going to make your case, and then we can agree to disagree. But a lot of times you'll hear somebody say, like, if I have my take, oh, no, you don't know what do you mean? I do know what I'm talking about. I have information. I have numbers to back up what I'm saying. So I do know what I'm talking about. If you don't agree with that, that's fine. You know what I mean? So, but my thing is this, is that the one thing I respect about Tom Brady is the fact that he sacrificed his NFL salary for success. And, kind of segueing into what I'm going to talk about now is that you're seeing on the opposite end, Patrick Mahomes, he won a Super Bowl last season on his rookie deal. This year, he was on his rookie deal. But next season, that $45 million kicks in. And me and Mike Guido had a conversation that what you saw in the Super Bowl, it might have been just, okay, they had offensive line issues. Maybe they'll be able to bounce back later on. But who's to say that $45 million going forward won't put a damper on them being able to accumulate the talent that they need to help Patrick Mahomes stay upright? Because what I saw in that game was like, man, that's how it can possibly look in 5 years for him. Because of that contract is so big. And obviously, quarterbacks can be able to restructure their deals, get these things in signing bonuses or however they want to do it. But even still, you're seeing a lot of guys having the same issue with talent being put around them because of the money that they're making. Russell Wilson. You heard Russell Wilson come out the other day and say, hey, I would like to be involved more in personnel decisions. And when I heard that, I'm like, okay, now the NFL is starting to feel like the NBA. And I don't like it. I don't like it because if it's a running back, if it's a wide receiver, but now we're having quarterbacks trying to dictate what's going on a 52-man roster. Like, that is not, to me, that's a little stretch, because here's my take, and I'm going to let you, add on to this, Brandon, is that Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl and got to another Super Bowl the following year with him being on his rookie deal, with them having the Legion of Boom on their rookie contracts. There's certain guys that they had to pay, but they didn't have to pay everybody across the board. And that's the formula for winning, right? If you have your quarterback in their rookie deals, that's where you have to strike. That's where you can be able to make big signings and do this and go for it if you know that you have a talented quarterback. But Russell Wilson had a chance to say to himself, I wonder if making $35 million is the smart thing to do if I want to continue to be relevant on the football field as a team. My numbers will always be there, but we don't have the line to compete. So maybe if I give some money back, they'll be able to put into the line. That, they've always had line issues, right? But him making $35 million right now is hampering their ability to get talent. Like, they lucked out with the help me, I can't remember the wide receiver's name, the freak guy. DK Metcalf.
DK Metcalf, yeah.
Right. They lucked out with getting Metcalf in the draft because he wasn't supposed to drop that low. But you look at the team, the accumulation of talent, they're not that talented. And the reason for that is because of the money that he's making. So what is your take on a guy complaining that he doesn't have a line, but at the same time taking the bag? It doesn't, like, we see, like, my thing, look, Brady's winning, right, correlates with the money that he made.
Right.
Because Brady has only made $25 million one time in his career, and that was this season. He's never made anything close to that. When they were winning Super Bowls, Brady was making $15 million, $16 million, $17 million. Think about that. That's an additional $18 to $20 million that the team is putting into other players. This guy's making $35 million and complaining that he doesn't have enough talent around him. That, to me, just doesn't make sense. Your thoughts?
I mean, I see what you're saying, and I agree, but you know me, I'm always for the player getting their bread, especially when it comes to football. So yeah. I'm never gonna be mad at them for wanting their money.
Yes.
But, like, this is how I see it. Like, after your rookie deal, you need to get the bag. Right. Period. Like, after that, you got to get your bag. After that, now then it's kind of okay. You can do the Tom Brady thing where where you want to, what I'm saying, basically help to get the team, together. So in that point, what I don't understand is the move that Seattle made to acquire Jamal Adams, because that affects their long-term flexibility as well as helping, the rest of the roster. Because Jamal Adams, we all know he wants to get paid.
Right.
So if he wants to get paid, you already gave up two first-round picks for him.
Yeah.
So you gave up 2 first-round picks for him. Now Russell's coming out. He wants more, he wants more help on the O-line, and now you're going to have Jamal wanting to get paid. It can't go both ways, not in football.
Right.
So I feel like, Russell was kind of not smart for saying that, and also the organization wasn't smart for making those moves, because who are they going to pay? So now you're going to have 2 disgruntled superstars on your team. You know what I'm saying? How are they going to put all of that together? I think that's where Pete Carroll comes in. But you know what I'm saying? But like I said, like, yes, I totally agree. Like, you can't say I'm making $35 million and then want help on the O-line. Like, I agree. But in all actuality, it's like, man, it's Russell. He is the star quarterback. Like, he shouldn't be moving around as much as he moves around all the time anyway.
And he does, and he does have a ring, so he has some clout.
He has some clout to say what he wants to say. So, that's what I'm saying. I play both sides. I see it from both sides. But, as far as him leaving or getting traded, I don't think any of that is gonna happen. Like, I don't.
There's no way. There's no way Seattle moves Russell Wilson. They're just gonna be like, all right, Russ, you mad? Like let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do. But you ain't going nowhere. So
exactly. And I think they got bigger problems to worry about when it comes to money flexibility. They got a lot of problems coming up. I'm telling 100%. You that Jamal Adams trade was not a good look for them.
Yeah, I agree about it. Yeah. As a Jets fan, listen, Jets fans are jumping up and down because you got 2 free first-round picks for a guy that's never been a box safety. Like, you don't pay that type of ransom for a box safety. It's just, it just goes to, when you look at Seattle, like, outside of the 2 Super Bowl appearances that they've had under Pete Carroll, they have not drafted well after the Legion of Boom.
Not
at all. Like, and is that a Pete Carroll thing? Is that the GM? Is that the scouting department? Who's to blame? Because, you also heard Russell talk about that he wants to pass the ball a little more. They're more of a running team.
Run first, yeah.
But for you to be a run first team with no offensive line, it's an oxymoron. Like, okay, you need a line to run the ball. So, but you also need a line to be able to pass as much as you want to as well. Because the thing is, if you notice, Seattle was down a lot, and that's when you have to get into passing mode. So, I think if they're going to sit down with Russell, there may have to be some personnel changes, maybe with the OC, maybe with certain things where they can be able to have an updated, more, what do you call it? This generation type of style of play. But at the same time, it's like they don't have the talent for that. They don't have the talent for that.
I'll tell you this. I don't know if you heard, but did you hear who interviewed for the offensive coordinator position?
Who?
I heard Adam Gase did.
Oh, my goodness.
Yo, if he goes there, Russell's definitely going one out.
but isn't wasn't Schottenheimer the OC?
But I think they fired. I think they fired him.
Yeah.
I think they're looking for a new OC, and I heard Adam Gase was getting interviewed. That's what I heard. I don't know if it happened. I don't know, but I'm just like, yeah, you could have him. You could have him.
Disaster. So, I guess we're gonna keep with the quarterback drama or the situations that's going on around the NFL. Houston continues to be the soap opera that everybody likes to see. JJ Watt just got released. He asked for his release. They honored his release after 10 seasons with the team. Now, the way I look at it is that JJ Watt has been the face of the Houston Texans since he got there. He is a Hall of Fame guy. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best defensive ends that ever played his game. So the way I look at it, he has the clout to be able to say, I want out. I would like a change of scenery. And you saw how the organization respected his wishes and gave him his release. Now, you see a lot of backlash on the other side because, like, oh, well, why does J.J. Watt, why does he get his release and Deshaun Watson can't get out of town? Deshaun Watson is 25 years old. He's a quarterback that's making $39 million a year. J.J. Watt is on the back end of his career. If he wants to go ahead and compete for a title, not making the big money that he was making his entire career, then it's a completely different situation. And it's like, for me, it's so hard to speak to some sporting fans nowadays because everybody has an opinion, but everything is not the same. Like, you can't look at it from like a racial issue, or it's just like they're two different dynamics, and two guys and they're in two different stages of their career. Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, you hit the nail. You hit it right on the head, man. I mean, that's exactly what I was gonna say, because there's two different situations. Like, somebody that's did everything for an organization, and we know what J.J. Watt means to Houston. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Right. Like, you could pretty much say he's that face of the franchise, like, like Drew Brees is for the Saints.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's that guy. He's that face, not Deshaun. So it's kind of a different situation. And it's just more like, you know what? You did your thing here. We're going to grant you this wish to go play for a contender and get a Super Bowl. Because, we're building and we're not there yet.
Right.
Why would I want to trade a 25-year-old quarterback, make, what I'm saying, in his prime?
Right.
I'm going to try to do everything to keep that man.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Until honestly, I don't even know how that situation is going to even pan out. I know they don't want to trade him. I don't know if they're going to end up going to trade him, but it's going to be a back and forth battle because I don't think Deshaun is coming down from his trade request,
Yeah. It's going to get messy. It's going to get messy because at certain, it's looking like I'm hearing 49ers, I'm hearing Dolphins, but it's like for Miami, you're willing to give up on Tua this early. Now, granted, I understand it's Deshaun Watson. You're not going to be able to find 25-year-old top 5 quarterback just in any year. Like, if you see an opportunity there, do it. But are you ready?
At what cost?
Exactly. At what cost? And is your team ready to compete getting a Deshaun Watson? Because the thing is with me, okay, you want out of Houston, but you're going to go to Miami. Is Miami going to be able to win now? Are they in win now mode? Or are you just happy to get out of Houston? It doesn't matter about you losing, because I don't see Miami, even with a Deshaun Watson, competing for an AFC title. I just don't. I don't see them being better than the Bills. I don't even see them being better than the Patriots, because we all know Bill Belichick is coming back strong next season. We all know that.
Tom just won.
We all know that one of these quarterbacks is going to end up in New England. We know that, whether it's going to be Carson Wentz, whether it's somebody else that we're not looking at, whether it's Jimmy G. Maybe Jimmy goes back to New England. Who knows? But somebody's coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be a QB carousel like throughout the whole league. There's so many moving parts, so many. So I mean, yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah, I just don't, like I said, ad nauseum, I've said this about Deshaun Watson's situation. Organizations, how things go in an organization, it's cyclical. You have your high times, you have your very low times. And Houston right now is in a low time, and they're trying to repair their image. They're trying to do things the right way. And listen, a lot of people have been critical about Houston, right? About some inner workings, whatever's going on behind the scenes. But for what I'm seeing, for what they're putting out, they hired Lovie Smith. They hired Cully as the head coach. I like that coaching staff. I think that coaching staff can really be successful. Lovie Smith is a hell of a defensive mind. This team can be able to, if they draft well, they don't have a lot of draft capital, but they still have some draft picks that, I think they have a second, a couple thirds or whatever. So they can be able to get some talent in this draft on the back end. And if you have a Lovie Smith, who knows what can happen? Like, that's the thing. winning can cure a lot of issues behind the scenes. And I think losing at the clip that Deshaun lost last year with the frustration, especially the year before that, I think compounded his frustration. Had the Texans been 10-6 and made the playoffs this year, maybe he would have still been frustrated, but I don't think it would have been to the level that he is here now. So I want him in a perfect world to give them a chance to dig themselves out of the hole that they put themselves in. That's what I want to happen, because like I said, John Elway got drafted to the Denver Broncos. They were not a great organization. He didn't want to play for them.
He got traded to the Broncos, didn't he?
Thank you. Yeah, he got traded.
I forgot what team actually drafted him.
Right.
He didn't want to play for that team.
Exactly.
And then he got traded to Denver.
Right. Got traded to Denver. Denver wasn't a great organization, but they got their guy, and he led them to 3 Super Bowls, and they had no business being there. And then they won later in his career because he stuck it out. So that's just my thing, man. It's just
no, and I agree with you, but they didn't do a lot of things from an organizational standpoint in order to keep losing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think, listen, as a player, and you've been a player too. You play ball, and you play ball competitively. You're a competitive guy. You want to win, right?
Right.
So it's like, all I want to do is just keep winning, and then you take my best wideout away from me.
Yeah.
And for what?
Right.
For you know what I'm saying? What do we do?
Right.
We didn't do anything with that move. So it's like he's looking at it from that standpoint. And I think that hit the nail in the coffin for him. I think after he saw that trade, I think he was done.
Yeah, I think
my personal opinion, I just think he was done after that trade. He was like, you know what? Nah. I've had enough. This is it.
And it's fair. It's a fair, kind of conclusion to get to for him. It's like, yo, that was my guy and you traded him. But if we're going to play devil's advocate and play two sides of the coin here, the owner said, okay, I gave the GM full autonomy to, Bill O'Brien, full autonomy to do all the football stuff because that's who I chose. He made all the decisions. I signed off on it. Then we realized, okay, well, you traded one of our best players because of, a situation. You didn't like him. Okay, now you got to get out of here. So, maybe did they take too long to fire him? Maybe. But there's not a lot of coaches that you see get fired mid-season. That's when you know that there's a huge problem. When a coach gets fired mid-season where they don't even say, play out the string and get the hell out of here. They fired him and said, we have to get you out of here now because of all the damage that you've done. So they're trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like,
they're trying to rectify the situation.
Yeah, they're trying to repair it. So I see the attempt that they're making, and hopefully, with some talking, he can be able to kind of say, all right, I'm going to give you guys a chance to figure it out. If we don't make some drastic improvements after the season, we're going to have to work something out next season where I want out of here, because he's still young enough to be able to, find greener pastures in another situation. So, we'll see what happens. But, moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville, they hired strength and conditioning coach Chris Doyle. And, there was some big controversy with Chris Doyle, and he was the strength and conditioning coach at Iowa. There was some racial stuff that we heard that happened with him, some bullying, some mistreatment that he did with the players. And Urban Meyer decided to hire him as his strength and conditioning coach for the Jags. There was a huge backlash because of it. And all of a sudden, Chris Doyle resigns, right? But his reasoning for resigning is he didn't want to be a distraction for the team. Not the fact that your history states that you're a racist and you are a bully and you mistreat players. What are your thoughts on this particular dynamic that a coach can be able to give another coach that type of chance because he's known him for 20 years and he's not that guy, when the players have came out and spoken up against this guy, and you have black players in this Jacksonville organization? The majority of the players are black.
Right.
So what are your thoughts about this situation? Like, this to me is just like the definition of white privilege. What are your thoughts?
I mean, listen, I agree. And what it does too, that sets a bad precedent with Urban Meyer with his new teammates. That you can hire a guy with that kind of background.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So now we starting off on the wrong foot. So now I'm questioning you as a coach, like, what kind of person are you?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So that already just starts off on the wrong foot. But it's like, we know the situation where, as if, let's just say that was a black, coach, he would have never even gotten past the point to signing a contract. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's sad, but it's honestly what it is.
Yeah, that's the reality. Yeah.
It's just the reality of the situation. And, I don't like, pointing out the race card, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
It's just plain old truth. And it's just like, it has to stop. We have to get to a point in our lives where we need to be able to look past these things. And basically we just need to have that opportunity. We need to have that chance to have that opportunity, because there's so many gifted Black people out here that need to be put into a better position, but we just don't have that chance.
Yeah, exactly. Black and brown, man. Like, there's so many guys that are out there that deserve those positions. Like you said, it's like, okay, that's your man, but your man's past. You know that your boy has a checkered past, and optics wise, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. Yeah, like if you wanna have him as like an inside consultant that you're paying him off the books to help you with certain things in regards to strength and conditioning strategies that you can be able to pass on to the team, do that. But to have him on payroll, nah. To have him a part of the organization with his history, nah. That's not the way it is. Like, everybody likes to talk about cancel culture now. Like, cancel culture is unfair. People deserve second chances. Granted, yes. But at the same time, certain situations, you gotta let some time pass and some things happen where you see a guy being contrite about what happened. I didn't hear that with Chris Doyle. I didn't see any contrition out of him. People are still very upset about this, and it's like, Urban Meyer's like, that's my man. He's fine. It's not gonna happen here. Like, no, that's not the way things work.
100%. And it's like the man didn't even come out. Did he even apologize or apologize for these things in the past?
Like, I think he did. I like I said, I'm not sure, but just the optics wise, it's like, even if you did, it's gonna take a long time for you to be able to correct that wrong. You know what I mean? Like
100%. And that's the problem too, because I feel like, you see, like, look at this situation. Like, I feel like this situation is not talked about more, right? Because a lot of people probably didn't even know about this situation. And then you have that other situation with the football player who beat up the Black girl.
Yes.
Like, why is that not getting talked about more? But if it was, you know what I'm saying, if it was the other way around, you would hear it more. It would be more of a news. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I just feel like certain things get thrown under the rug, and it's like, nah, it's got to be the same way across the board for everyone.
Oh, 100%. Because
for everybody.
If you remember, Ray Rice was on the news every day.
Oh yeah,
every day for like a month. Ray Rice was in the news, but
Kareem Hunt too.
Kareem Hunt was in the news every day. But this dude, he got a mental issue. And you got people that are empathetic towards his mental condition. Oh, well, he has mental issues. It's a sensitive subject. No, listen, I get all that, cool. But he chose to not take his medication, and he chose to do that. Like, I don't care about what your mental health is. You beat somebody like that, you deserve to go to jail.
100%.
Like, ain't no, like, because at the end of the day, that means that if you have a mental illness, you can be able to just hide behind that. Oh yeah, I stabbed this person 50 times. I have a mental illness. So instead of me going to jail, I gotta go to a psych ward. Like, nah. Mm-hmm. You can be able to get help in prison. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't dig that, man. I don't dig that. So I agree with you that certain things get light, certain things don't get light. And a lot of people, they don't feel comfortable with the whole Black versus white issue in regards to certain situations, but it's the world we live in. Like, right. for you not to address it is being ignorant to the situation.
Right. We have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable.
Facts.
Like, that's what I always tell people. Yeah,
Facts.
this discussion is not comfortable. I know it's not going to be comfortable for a lot of people, but guess what? This is what it is.
Exactly.
You got to deal with the reality of life and understand what's going on and being able to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is how you change that image. This is how you change, for the NFL. Because you know how we all look at the NFL.
Right.
So, hopefully, as time changes, we could evolve and get better.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, moving on, you are a big time Jets fan. You are a big time Jets sufferer, like a lot of people. I saw a report about Deshaun Watson that the Jets are not in his destination list. They're not on the list. So, but you're also hearing talks about Sam Darnold getting a ton of interest around the NFL. Like, what are your thoughts about the Jets situation? Because they're in a very unique situation. I've said this on my show several times that the Jets have the ability, if they do things right, that they can be able to change their fortune around in an off season and be one of the surprise teams next year if they do things the right way. Do you think going after Deshaun Watson or keeping a Sam Darnold and surrounding him with a great line, surrounding him with some skill position players, and going and seeing what he has with this new regime is the right way to go? What are your thoughts?
I mean, honestly, you know me. Like, I'm a big Jet fan, and honestly, I love Sam. Like, I don't want Sam Darnold to be traded. I definitely don't want that. But I'm also in the back of my mind trying to understand, how the head coach is, how the offensive coordinator is, and what is it that they're exactly looking for. You understand what I'm saying? So I got to see I don't know how they're evaluating him. So that's why I'm kind of just trying to, I guess, understand what they're trying to do as far as the quarterback position. But if it was in my hands, I'm keeping Sam. Like, I don't want to trade for Deshaun Watson. I know everybody wants Deshaun Watson to be a Jet. I get it. Like, listen, I'm not saying I'd be opposed to it.
Yeah.
But now I tell people the whole time, so you're going to give up all the assets that you just helped acquire, you know what I'm saying, to trade for one man who's making, whatever amount of money he's making. Now we're going to have that same issue again where we can't put talent around him.
Exactly. Because Deshaun's making $39 million.
Exactly. So I'm like, you don't want that situation to happen. And then we're going to hear the same talk. And then this man's going to get scrutinized. And that's probably why we're not high on his wish list, because this is New York.
Right.
He knows, you know how it is in the media here. So it's like, he don't want to deal with that. You know what I'm saying? So it all depends. If it was a ready to win now team, then I can see that being a move that you can make. You know what I'm saying? Where the pieces are already there and he's just the missing piece.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's so many missing parts to this team. Trading it all away for one person, I'm not really too high on that, on moves like that.
Yeah.
I feel like you have to give Sam Darnold a chance to see what he can do, when healthy, when he's not getting hit every damn second. You know what I'm saying? Like, and people for him to throw the ball to. Like, he's never really had that chance. And I will only say this because I remember that first year, his rookie year, I think it was like his last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah.
Dude was balling.
Yeah.
Like, dude was balling. Like, I even showed people his stats. Like, he was balling.
Right.
He was dueling with Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
In that Green Bay game. Dude threw for 300 and something yards with 4 TDs.
Yeah.
He was balling. So it's like, the dude has the talent. He has the capability. But why did he regress after year 1? Obviously, Adam Gase and everything else put around him.
Right.
So see what the man can do, and then let's go from there. But at least you'll have the second pick. You'll have the other pick. Now, if you don't feel Sam is the guy, okay, that's, you're the evaluator. So who am I to say anything? But at the same time, what do you do with Sam down? You know what I'm saying? Do you trade that second pick, or do you trade Sam and draft the quarterback at 2?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's so many different variables and possibilities that they can do, but that's why I like that route as opposed to trading all of it away for one guy.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you, man, because the thing is, it's like, okay, you're gonna trade Sam for possibly a first round pick. that I'm sure that's what they'll hold out for because he's still a young talent. But you're gonna go ahead and draft another young quarterback, and then you have at least Sam is going into year 4. He's seen NFL defenses. He understands this organization. He knows he's very comfortable playing in New York.
Yep.
He's not razzled or frazzled by the stage. It's the fact that he has not developed the way that they thought he would. But like you said, look at the circumstances. Look at the weapons that he had around him. Look at the porous offensive line. And also the bad luck that he had, the mono that he caught. That set him back physically. If he didn't catch the mono, who knows what year 2 would look like for Sam.
Yep.
So, we don't there's a lot of different question marks here for Sam Darnold, and there's a lot of them that are not based on his ability. It's based on everything else that's around him. You know what I mean? So it's like, if they're able to say they draft Penny Sewell, the
offensive tackle, yeah.
Now you got bookend tackles for the next decade. Penny Sewell, Mekhi Becton. Those are 2 monsters on your offensive line, which are protecting his blind side and also his strong side. This is what you're looking for. This is how quarterbacks are able to progress the way you want them to. Time and talent will let him be more comfortable. You have these draft picks, like you said. There's so many wide receivers in this draft that you can be able to go get. You don't have to go, get a high price free agent if you don't want to. If you still want to, that's fine. You have the option because you have the money. But the talent level, the talent pool in regards to wide receiver, tight end, running back, it is endless.
Yep.
And they have so many picks that they can be able to get so much young talent at the same time. That's unheard of.
Yep.
That's
and they
unheard
have
of.
the money, and they have the money to be able to pull it all together under the salary cap.
Exactly.
So you trade that for one person, is all of that goes out the window.
Right. So, that's another thing too. We've heard certain rumors or certain targets that the Jets are going for in regards to free agency. We've heard Juju be a target. We've heard Allen Robinson be a target. I don't know if Kenny Galladay is going to be a target, but what are your thoughts about who is your number 1 wide receiver target via free agency?
Well, if we're keeping Sam Darnold, it's got to be Juju because of their familiarity at playing at USC.
Yes.
So, and I know they want to play together. So it's kind of like if you're gonna keep Sam, that's the guy. In all honesty, I don't mind Allen Robinson. And I know I've heard rumors about Will Fuller too.
Yes.
But I like Will Fuller, but the man is always pulling the same hamstring.
Can't say he has Chris Paul legs.
Oh my gosh, man! I had to stop drafting him on my fantasy team. That dude is always hurt with a hamstring injury.
You draft Will Fuller every year.
Will Fuller and some tight end.
Right. Oh my!
But yeah, man, I would say Juju only if it's if Sam is coming back. If Sam isn't coming back, then maybe it is Allen Robinson. You know what I'm saying? Maybe it is. But yeah, I mean, you could basically in the draft get a really good receiver and then have one of those. And now you have Mims, a Juju, and whoever you draft. Now and you have Crowder. Now you're looking at a receiving core.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's just more for Sam to work with.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. Like I like I see the USC connection between Juju and Sam. I am so out on Juju Smith-Schuster because his behavior just doesn't scream NFL player to me. He's a court gesture. He needs to stop all those antics and play football because I think a lot of people are now looking at Antonio Brown as if, Antonio Brown may be crazy, right? He may be a little off, but there's some facts that man was spitting when he was still with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was upset that Juju was the MVP of the team and it wasn't him, but we saw Juju's production drop off a cliff after Antonio Brown left Pittsburgh. So everybody thought that Juju was a number one. He's not a number one. So if you pay big money for a Juju coming to New York, I am very scared that you're paying him number one money for him to be a number three receiver. That's my issue with Juju, is that the talent level doesn't match his mouth or how he thinks he plays. He's not a number one receiver to me. He really isn't. So what is the asking price for a Juju on the open market? Because we saw the Jets, be very hesitant into giving Robbie Anderson $10 million a year. He ended up getting that money from Carolina and he had a very good season. So it's like, they dropped the ball there. You don't want to drop the ball the other way in regards to giving this guy that money and him not being able to do what Anderson can do. You understand what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I don't really like that particular dynamic of it. I would rather them get a guy that can be able to have a direct impact with that position. Allen Robinson he can be an impact guy. He's a tough receiver. He's not flashy. A lot of people don't really talk about him being one of the best receivers in football, but he is one of the best receivers in football. So that to me would make more sense. And also, if they can go get Kenny Galladay, oh boy.
Oh no, but we know Kenny Galladay is going. He going to LA. He going to play with Matt, bro. And I listen. I totally get it. That's why I never even mentioned his name. Yeah. But you got to understand, I'm a Jet fan, bro. We don't have any talent on that side of the ball. So, the things that you're saying about Juju are true, but I'll still take him over anything we got.
All right,
you understand what I'm saying?
But what's the price tag, though?
Of course.
Would you be comfortable giving Juju $15 million a year?
No.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, we got to see.
You can't get $15 million a year based on that production you had last season.
Right.
So I think, listen, I like JD, man. Joe Douglas is I like him. I like the way he moves. And I feel like, he'll give him a price. And if he don't meet that price, he's not gonna be a Jet. Like that's how JD seems like how he moves. He's gonna tell you what you're worth. And this is what it is. And if you don't want it, okay, no problem. We'll get somebody who really wants to be here. And, that'll be the end of that. That's why I like JD. So I'm not too worried about, I don't think they'll overpay for a player like that. Like the Jets notorious, they overpay players on the defensive end. Like, you know what I'm saying? On the defensive side of the ball, sorry. But like, that's how I feel. They always give those big money contracts to like the defensive starters. Like, look at CJ Mosley.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I love Mosley, but dude hasn't played. You know what I mean? The dude hasn't played.
Right.
So,
I can't. I agree with you, man. Let's see. Joe Douglas. A lot of people say that Jets fans, they love Joe Douglas. He's done some shrewd moves since he's been the GM. So I just want to see those moves pay off. I don't want to see him make any silly trades, and I don't want to see him make any silly signings, but we'll see what happens, because free agency is coming up on us very quickly. So, we'll see what happens. But, turning our attention to a different sport, we both love baseball. Baseball is one of our top sports. The biggest news in baseball was that the MLB decided to change the baseballs. They've changed the baseballs to make it, to kind of control the home run rate. And my opinion is that I like it because what I saw out of baseball out of the last 5 years or so was the home run rate was ridiculous. It felt like when we're playing, MLB The Show, and you just jack up all the attributes. So, there's a fastball down the middle. You put all the home run stuff on Buck on 100. You press X and you're knocking it 600 yards. I'm tired of seeing average guys or below average guys that are hitting 220 are hitting 30 home runs, 35 home runs. Like this, there's something going on with baseball that they're not admitting, right? But now them changing the balls is kind of admission. It's kind of admission, right? It's like, okay, we're going to go change the balls, but they're not they're not admitting that there was something that was going on.
Right.
Like, what is your thoughts about like MLB finally doing this, because even they see that there's an issue going on?
I mean, listen, I mean, I'm all for it, but at the same time, too, the guys that are hitting all of these home runs, you just pointed out, they're hitting 220, but they're also probably striking out like 200 times.
Oh, the strikeout rate is insane.
The strikeout rate is crazy. So it's kind of like, I mean, I see what you're saying, but at the end of the day, what are these players doing in the playoffs? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. They can't adjust to great pitching. So that the home run rate is really during the season. It's not in the playoffs, because you see when the playoffs come, things change.
Right.
So to me, I'm kind of like, I'm just like whatever about it. It doesn't really bother me. It doesn't bother me at all, because a person that's hitting 35 home runs, I know is striking out at least 200 times and is batting like 220. That ain't, we know when we're growing up watching baseball, that's not what we were used to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you hit 220,
you're in the minors.
You're in the minors. Like, you're getting sent down. Like, it's a different era. It's a, just like every other sport, it's a different era. And, after the whole steroid thing and everything like that, they're just trying to do anything to stray away from that. And that's what I feel that's more so of than anything else.
Yeah, I definitely see a point about it. The thing with me is that the reason why it's a bigger deal to me than it is to you is that how I look at baseball is that baseball, out of any other sport, is about the numbers. It's all about the numbers. And
stats matter.
Stats matter. So think about it. If a guy that is an average or below average guy that has a ton of power and he's getting a chance to play every day, striking out, like you said, 200 times a year, but if he plays 12 years at that clip and ends up hitting 450, 500 home runs, his numbers now stack up better than the greats that we've seen play. So how can you deny that guy entry into the Hall of Fame when his 500 is 500? Like 500 home runs is an automatic Hall of Fame selection, right? Just like how 2,500 hits and up is an automatic sometimes Hall of Fame selection. So that's why I think that they're doing it. They understand that the numbers look very skewed for a lot of guys that are not considered great players, and they don't want to have this problem of putting these guys in the same category as the greats. And that's what I want to see them change. So hopefully, let's see how it goes. If the home runs are still getting mashed, then we just know that guys are just, they're being trained to hit home runs, and that's it. Because we know that, like, guys like Albert Pujols don't exist anymore. Guys that strike out less than 50 times a year, they don't exist anymore. They teach these kids, hit a home run or get a walk. Strike out, and we don't care about that. That's not, it's just...
It's different. It's different. And I'm not even gonna lie, it is different. But one thing that doesn't change, even, like what you were saying about the Hall of Fame, those writers that put these players in, they don't change.
Right.
So don't be surprised just because you see somebody with 500 home runs. Don't think that that's going to be an automatic. Because if they see that average, they're going to hold that against them.
That's a good point.
Some of them are very like old school in their ways. They don't care about the 500.
Right.
Oh, you hit 220 for your career.
Right. 235. You're like, no.
Yeah. They're like, nah. We'll wait for you to be on the ballot maybe 2-3 years down the line. Then we might consider you.
Yeah. So you're right.
You know how they do things. So that's why I'm on. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm just kind of like, I don't know what they're really trying to do behind it.
Yeah.
But I'm not like opposed to it.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that point. The other thing I want to talk about in regards to baseball is they hired Ken Griffey in the major league office. That's our guy.
That's my guy.
To spearhead, bringing baseball back into the inner cities, putting the product where it's supposed to be. And, we've had this conversation probably a year or two ago that baseball has a diversity issue. Mm-hmm. And, it's not, we have a ton of Spanish players that are in the Major League Baseball. That's great. It's phenomenal. But guys that I grew up watching guys like Ken Griffey Jr., guys like Barry Bonds, guys like Torrey Hunter, those guys, they don't exist anymore. And it's because there are no baseball programs in the inner city. There's no baseball fields or baseball diamonds around. Like you see a whole bunch of parks with basketball courts, but there's no baseball diamonds. And that's the problem. If you don't give these kids a chance or expose them to the sport, why would they love it? And
Right.
also, if you have guys that are playing the sport that you're not highlighting, guys like Mookie Betts that won a MVP and didn't have one national commercial.
Nope.
How does that make sense? So, what are your thoughts about Major League Baseball being aware of that they have a diversity issue and them putting one of the greatest players to ever play the game on the job?
Oh, I mean, I loved it, man. I mean, you know me. Ken Griffey is my favorite baseball player of all time. Always has. You know, I wear his sneakers. I got every sneaker he had, every cleat that he had. Like, that's always been my guy. So, like, I love the move. And, I hope it could steer in the right direction because, honestly, I mean, growing up, I didn't have any of those players that I would say, besides Ken Griffey, and a Barry, that you would really, look to and be like, who's the face. But back then, you knew who Ken Griffey was. Like, even if you didn't watch baseball or you didn't like baseball, you knew who Ken Griffey was.
Video games, commercials, sneakers,
everything.
Like he was pop culture. Yeah.
Right. Now, nobody knows who Mookie Betts is. You know what I'm saying?
Mike Trout can walk down the street, nobody cares.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't know who these players are. So after the whole steroid era, they've just done a bad job in general of just marketing their players and marketing the sport. Like this is my favorite sport, hands down. I played baseball. Yeah. You know how I feel. I'm very passionate about baseball, but it's just like, how did you go from that to this?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And you know how I feel about Rob. Yeah. I can't stand him. Like, I cannot stand him. I don't think he's gonna make the game better. Right. I think he's gonna make it worse. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I just hope that Ken Griffey can basically bring that back. I just got to see how is he going to do that.
Now, just to kind of, go further into that point, like what do you think happened to baseball? Like, is it the fact that the exposure, like we were talking about, that players don't look like us and kids didn't have anybody to look up to? Is that the reason why the interest level within the inner cities, within, Black culture, it went down? Because we already know that baseball is a sport that's passed down to you. Yep. It's not a sport that, the casual fan can just be able to turn the TV on and say, oh, okay, I'll definitely start watching baseball. Basketball does that. Football has that. Hockey doesn't. Baseball doesn't. These things have to be in your DNA. Like your parent had to play or a brother had to play and they taught you how to play, and that's where your love came from. Because, for me personally, my love came from my cousin introducing me to the game. Like, we would play baseball in front of the house, and then he would show me tapes of Darryl Strawberry. He would show me tapes of Barry Bonds and Hank Aaron and stuff like that. And then when I saw Barry Bonds play, I was like, oh yeah, I like this guy. And then Ken Griffey was there, and it's like, oh, that's my man. You know what I mean? So it's like, those are the guys that I look to. Barry Bonds, Ken Griffey. Like I said, Torrey Hunter with his great defensive skills. There's so many great players. And then, we go back into the history of the game. Back in the days, Hank Aaron, we have Willie Mays, we have Frank Robinson. So many different guys that you can be able to say that they dominated their game, this game. And you would think that, as time passes, you would have more influence in this sport, but yet they have the lowest percentage of African-American players than they've ever had in any point in their history since the actual merge. Mm-hmm. Think about that.
Right, no, it's 100%.
Since they started letting Black players play, it has never been this low. It's just, I'm so frustrated, man. I really am.
I mean, I am too, but it's also this, I don't know how it started, but I would just say that there was nobody to market, for a little bit. And then once like Mookie became big in Boston, it should have took off, but it didn't. And they still didn't do the right thing by him in marketing him. So, if I'm a kid, there's nobody here that's relatable to me. So of course I'm gonna go to basketball. Of course I'm gonna go to these other sports.
Right.
If I can't relate, then this ain't for me. That's
Right.
how, as a kid, that's how you're thinking.
Right. That's how our parents look at it. They're like, I'm not gonna put my kid in this sport. There's no black players here. Not, you know what I'm saying? It's sad, man. But also too, do you think that if Mookie played for a different team, like say Mookie got drafted by the Dodgers originally, do you think that maybe commercial wise or notoriety nationwide would be different? Because we all know Boston is a little bit on the racist side. So I don't know if they were willing to give this guy all this, hey, this is a Boston product. This is our guy, because we all know how black players are treated
in Boston.
In Boston. You know what I'm saying? Like Big Papi was a national treasure. But even Big Papi said that, there was some issues there where, it wasn't always that pleasant. But, they won and they accepted him. That's why, Boston won when he was there. Right. So I don't know, man. I just think that maybe if he was somewhere else, maybe it would have been different. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think it would have been different because, he's in LA now. And they still can't. And you want to talk about marketing people, you in LA. And you know what I'm saying? And there's still no market for them. So, like, I just think that baseball is just stuck in a time in which they just don't know how to, they have never found themselves after the steroid issue. And I also believe that's a direct link, to us as black people, because they pretty much put us at the forefront for the steroid issue.
That's very true. Yes.
You understand what I'm saying? With Barry Bonds and along with, Clemens and them, but who did they, try to eviscerate the most? Barry. You know what I'm saying? Barry, A-Rod, these are people of color.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like
Manny Ramirez.
So it's kind of like, but bro, don't do that to them. You know what I'm saying? When other players were doing it too.
Yeah.
Like this is not a clean sport. This sport has never been clean.
Exactly.
Never been clean.
And to kind of piggyback on your point is that my issue with the whole steroids era is that, you have a lot of people that, if he's taking steroids, don't let him in. I don't care. I don't care because at the end of the day, numbers are numbers. You cannot just completely put this era in the darkness and don't give guys their flowers. Like, we had great players that played in that generation, that era. But my thing is this: Bud Selig, baseball had a problem back in the mid 90s, right? We had the strike. There was no World Series.
Yep.
Baseball had a problem getting back to being the national pastime. Football was starting to gain. It was starting to gain and gain quickly, right? And what brought people back to the ballparks? It was Sosa and McGuire. 98, the summer of 98 brought people back. And those two guys are the steroid ambassadors, right? So you knew that these guys were taking something, because we all know that
they knew.
Andro was a thing back then, all of these other things, because you weren't testing for it back then. So you're trying to tell me that Bud Selig didn't know that this was going on? But
he knew.
He knew. He didn't turn his back to it because they were making money. He got back into the national respect again. But as soon as he thinks that the sport can be able to sweep these guys under the rug, you want to go ahead and disrespect. Like, the biggest disrespect to me, Brandon, in that whole era was when Barry Bonds broke the home run record. And Bud Selig's face, he didn't even want to congratulate Barry Bonds. And that, to me, was the ultimate disrespect that you can give a guy that is one of the best players in that sport, in the history of that sport. Like, I don't care who you are. I don't care what you've done. I don't care if you don't like the guy because he didn't speak to the media all the time. Give Barry Bonds his due respect,
credit,
because what he did to Barry Bonds, he would never have done to anybody else.
And it's just not fair, especially you exploited off of them.
Yes.
Off of them taking the steroids.
Agreed.
You know what I'm saying? You exploited them and then threw them under the bus when the names were never supposed to be released.
Exactly.
So that was my whole biggest beef. I was so pissed about it because I'm like, damn, You threw them under the bus. You profited off of it. The MLB got high ratings now.
Billions.
And you profiting off of it.
Yeah.
And the names were never supposed to be released. But you knew that these people were taking steroids because you knew what it was. But my whole thing is it's 162 games.
Right.
These everyday position players, bro, like, I'm not saying I would take it, but I don't care if the next man was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of them do it. I know, what I'm saying, basically to heal faster and stuff like that. A lot of people go through a lot of bumps and injuries during the season. I get it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So they want to be able to still play. They want to be able to perform at a high level at all times. This is what the pressure of getting paid so much money does to you. So, I feel like people don't look at it in all angles when people take steroids. People take steroids for different reasons.
Different
you
reasons,
know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yep.
And you have to know why that person is doing it to really understand the situation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I get it. And, it is what it is. Everybody has their opinion about it. But don't exploit them and then throw them under the bus and then act like as if you didn't know what was going on.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with you. So, last point on baseball, and then we'll move to the NBA. Brandon, the pain. The pain that I have in my heart, in my soul, I can't explain it. We lose out on Trevor Bauer. I'm a big Mets fan. And we also lost out on Nolan Arenado. They traded Nolan Arenado to the Cardinals for a bag of chips and a gym bag. And maybe a back, maybe a home plate. Maybe that's what they got for him too. As a Met fan, Brandon, why do I have to go through this? Why can't I feel like how you feel as a Yankee fan, like how Dodger fans feel, like even how Cardinals fans feel? Because Cardinals always seem to have some big players in there. They have Paul Goldschmidt. Now they have Nolan Arenado. They had Albert Pujols for all those years. Why don't we have this opportunity to get guys like this? It's not fair. It's not fair. That's all I'm saying. I'm mad. I'm mad, but it's more jealousy than anything else. I'm just jealous because I'm always watching other people's teams. Like, man, that's a good player. I wish I had him. Francisco Lindor is the most talented player we've had in our history. In our history. You understand that? I'm happy that we have him. But who's to say that it ends up being very Met-like that he doesn't sign an extension and goes to sign with the damn Padres next offseason?
But you gotta stop thinking like that, man.
I can't. It's PTSD. I can't do it.
Yo, man, it's a new era. It's a new era in Queens, man. You gotta be positive. You gotta be positive. Listen, and you know me. I'm a diehard Yankee fan. I do not hate the Mets. My mom is a Met fan, and I want to see them do well. I do want to see them do well. You know what I'm saying? I like the new owner. I like the move that you guys made for Francisco Lindor.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know that whole situation with Arenado. I didn't know Arenado was going to get traded for pretty much nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It was pretty much like, and then the thing about it was with the Rockies was they're idiots. Like they paid more of his salary, and I'm like, and you didn't get back anybody?
Nothing.
Like, what was the point of that deal? I'm pretty sure there were better deals out there, but maybe,
of course.
Maybe they just, was like, you know what, Nolan, if this is where you want to go, we're going to make it happen. I could definitely see that because Nolan has been nothing but, great for that Rockies organization. You know what I'm saying? As you know, I live in Colorado now, and he is pretty much the face of that team. You understand what I'm saying? Like he is definitely the face of the Colorado Rockies. So I feel like, maybe it was just like, you want to go to St. Louis? I got you.
Yeah. I think
it was just like, you could have gotten like, this is Nolan Arenado, bro. Like
right.
I texted you literally because I went to like before COVID, I went to like maybe like 4 or 5 Rocky games.
Yeah.
And where I sit is literally on the third base side. So I'm seeing, bro. I have never ever seen a third baseman play like this guy live ever.
Yeah,
ever.
he
is the truth. Like
he is a generational talent. He's the best third baseman in our generation. Like he
100%. It's not even close.
It's not even close, man. It's not even close. The guy is he's just a tremendous talent. I had a lot of Met fans tell me, "Oh, well, maybe you don't want Nolan. Maybe we don't want Nolan because his home and away splits." I said, I don't care.
The
if
dude
no,
hits over 300
Yeah.
and hits 40 home runs and 100 RBIs every single season, and
but
nobody
Brandon,
talks about him.
this is my thing though. I don't care if he was hitting 350 in Colorado and then if he got traded to the Mets, he ended up hitting 260 and 38 home runs on I'd still take it. I'd still
Facts.
take it because the glove follows him. The
Oh,
glove
yeah.
follows him.
But the bat ain't leaving either. The
And the
dude is a
bat ain't leaving
consistent
either.
over 300 hitter.
Yeah.
He's consistent. I don't care about that whole, all the altitude and da-da-da-da.
Right.
Nah.
Right.
The dude mashes the ball anywhere in any park.
He is a masher. He's a 5-tool player. Like that's what he is. You know what I'm saying?
Nolan, man.
It just pains me. But the Trevor Bauer, the fact that he was signing autographs and Met gear, it was just don't do that to us.
He be trolling though. He be trolling a little bit.
I understand, but just don't do that to us. We're a very sensitive fan base. Don't do that to us, man. But I'm hearing rumors. I don't want to get too excited because of what just happened, but possibly, maybe Chris Bryant may be on his way here.
See, now, what do you think about him? Because Chris Bryant hasn't been the Chris Bryant in a few seasons.
I'll take him.
But no. He's better than what you have.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah. But what do you have to give up to get him?
That's the thing. I don't think because they may want our highest catching prospect, which is the kid Alvarez. I don't know if they want to give him up. So we'll see.
They need to look for a Arenado deal.
But the thing is, I don't think that the market for Chris Bryant is that big.
Nah.
So if the Mets want him, I think that they can be able to have him for a couple decent prospects. I don't think that they have to give up anything within their top 5 in their organization to get him because he's not that type of player anymore. Or
right.
He needs a change of scenery to be able to become that player again. So we'll see what happens, man. I am hopeful, and we'll see what happens. But
your team is good, bro. I think you should be positive about it. They're going places. The pitching staff is elite, even without Trevor Bauer. The pitching staff is elite.
Yeah.
It's elite, bro. I mean, come on. You got Syndergaard, you got DeGrom. Come on, bro.
Carrasco now.
And Carrasco, I forgot about Carrasco. And Carrasco's solid. I've been watching him in the AL, obviously with the Indians for years. The dude can pitch.
Yeah.
You got talent, bro. You have talent.
It's not doom and gloom. I understand, but the pain, man, the pain. I was looking for a big home run off season. We got a couple doubles. Yeah, I got a couple doubles, man.
Listen, you can't get a home run for the first year, man.
Why not?
It's gonna come. It's gonna come, man.
Listen, we've struck out too many years in a row. I wanted a home run. All right, so call me crazy, but it's not a bad off season. But there's still things to do because I heard Zach Scott come out and say that they're not done yet. So that gives me hope. That gives me hope that they're gonna do some different things. But moving on to the NBA, you're a big Knicks fan. How do you think? Listen, man, they're not playing that bad. But what are your thoughts about the Derrick Rose acquisition? What are your thoughts on how Julius Randle is playing? And what do you think about the young talent?
Listen, man, the Knicks are playing good right now. I love, how you said, what you call my man Tibbs, the used car salesman.
Oh, Homer Simpson? Yeah.
Yo, he's changed the culture. He has literally changed the culture. When was the last time you seen the Knicks mentioned with defense?
Right. They're top 5 defensive.
They're a top 5 defensive team. So that alone shows me, okay, yeah, the Tibb effects is working.
Right.
And I love it. I don't mind the move for Derrick Rose because they didn't give much to get him.
Yeah.
But what I don't like and what I've been consistent, I can't stand Elfrid Payton. Like Elfrid Payton gotta go. Like, I'm not saying he's not a good defender, but I've never seen a man miss so much layups. Every consistent time he's driving to the hoop, he can't make a layup, bro. Everything's a brick. Everything's a brick with him. I call him Brick Payton. So I'm like, I'm just like, yo, why is this man still starting?
Right.
But I understand, they can't trade him, I think, until like February 27th.
Yeah.
And he has a no trade clause. Why the hell does Elfrid Payton have a no trade clause?
I think it's because he signed I think it's a 1-and-1. So maybe I think that's the reason why he has a no trade clause. I'm not sure.
To me, I'm just like, yeah, that's crazy. But as far as like the way the team is playing, like I love it. Like I love the energy. I love the fact that they always keep fighting. Like because they know that they're not probably as talented as most teams, which is fine. But always play hard, and you could just see the difference in how the players are developing. Like I love Quickly. He's definitely my favorite right now.
Right.
I don't like the way they're using Obi at all. Like I think Obi's talented, but he's not a spot up, shoot up three kind of dude. Like he should be used more in a pick and roll situation. Like he looks like a young Amari to me. You know what I'm saying? Without the post game yet.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, why isn't he in more high leverage, like high pick and roll situations? That's why I like the move with D Rose, because you're seeing Obi, get into more pick and roll situations and get more dunks to the rim, like using more of his athleticism. Right. He shouldn't be just standing on the island trying to shoot a three.
Yes.
You understand? So the Rose addition has definitely helped, I think, the young guys so far in the 2 games that I've seen. But everything else is gelling. I just think they need to continue on this path and don't make the big blockbuster that I think they're going to do.
Right.
And I don't want the Knicks to be the same old Knicks again.
Yeah, listen, I definitely agree with you. It feels different. Like I said, I've been saying it all season that the Knicks are watchable. They are actually a watchable team. They're a fun team to watch. They have some great young players. I like what Thibs has brought to this team. I think the coaching staff has done a great job in regards to developing these young players. The Knicks historically have always had an issue with player development.
Yep.
And if they can be able to develop these young guys, man, they have something here. But
the only time we were able to develop young guys is when Isaiah Thomas was here.
Yes.
And he drafted well.
Yes, he did.
But then he traded all of them to get garbage.
Right.
So we don't need to go down that line anymore.
Yeah. And we just heard that Mitchell Robinson, broke his hand, so he's gonna be out 4 to 6 weeks. So we're gonna see how that affects the team. I think Obi Toppin is gonna get more chances of playing now. Yeah. So we'll see if they're I definitely know that they're gonna take a step back defensively, but they still have.
But I like Noel.
Yeah, Nolan's has played well. They had 2 big rim protectors, and the Lakers had that last year. That was a formula for success for LA in the regular season. So that's still a viable type of strategy to have rim protectors that can be that they're basically rim runners. They're not guys that you can dump the ball down to and get a bucket, but they're lob guys, they're rim runners. So, we'll see how it goes. But, there's also a report that, we're seeing that the Knicks are making their young players available in case of, one of these big high profile stars becomes available, like if they want out. So, me right now, it's just like the thought process is same old Knicks.
Yep.
Same old Knicks, because they've always been chasing the big fish instead of looking at what they have internally and trying to make their own big fish. I don't see the point of, packaging off these younger players right now and to just make a splash when now you're going to have a skeleton type of roster with a big fish. That doesn't make sense. It's the Carmelo Anthony effect.
Who's really worth it?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Who's really worth that? LeBron.
Yeah.
KD.
Right.
But, you know what I'm saying? But that's pretty about it. You want somebody who's really going to change that franchise. And those 2 players, will. So that I can understand. And like a Bradley Beal, he's great. But I'm not gutting my whole roster for him.
Same thing with a Zach LaVine. You don't gut your roster for guys like that. I agree.
No.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah. Definitely. Did you hear the news about James Harden?
No, I did not.
Well, I'm very highly critical of James Harden. So he came out recently and said that he has big regrets on how his tenure with the Rockets ended. How nice, right? Big regrets on how his tenure with the Rockets ended when he was the one who caused it. He was the one who caused all of the issues. It wasn't Houston. They gave him everything that he wanted.
Yep.
So it's like, are you sorry that you were a jerk? Are you sorry that you were the one that really caused the issues? Because he had made a statement early in the week. I can't remember who he was talking to, but he had an interview. I think it was with Rachel Nichols. And he said that he got frustrated with Houston because he had to do all the scoring. He had to do all the offensive haul for the team. But in my head, I'm like, wait a second. If I remember basketball well, and I do, I remember he had Dwight Howard in Houston.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out. Dwight wanted to kill him, and he ended up leaving. Then you have one of the most influential team-building point guards of all time. We see what he's doing in Phoenix right now. Phoenix looks very good.
Yep.
Yeah, Chris Paul come here, and they were a game away from winning getting to the NBA Finals, and you ended up destroying that relationship too because you didn't want to give Chris Paul the reins of the team. You didn't want to let him run point guard. It's your team. You want to play the way you play, and you weren't willing to sacrifice and give it up to Chris Paul. So all of a sudden now you regret. All of a sudden now you regret because you have two better players on your team now. Right. But my thing is this. Everybody wants to talk about how the Nets are the most dynamic offensive team we've ever seen. Granted, yes, all three of those guys can be able to score 80 points total every night. But where are they getting the extra 40 points from? Where are they getting the extra 35 from? We're seeing that they have defensive issues. And what follows James Harden where he goes? Defensive issues, because he's not a guy that plays any defense. But yet he's come out and said, yeah, we have to have a better defensive team going forward. Well, excuse me? Excuse me? Where's it coming from? Your head coach has never played defense a day in his life. Your assistant coach, who was the head coach for your head coach when he was playing, don't believe in defense. You are a player that's never played defense. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, he's a mess, bro. He's delusional. Mess. He's delusional, and he's a mess. That Nets team cannot stop a nosebleed, bro.
Can't stop a nosebleed,
bro. That's the thing. That's what we talk about. Yeah, they're prolific scorers, probably the most we've ever seen of all time, but only one of them plays defense, and that's KD.
Yeah,
Kyrie don't play no D either.
Nope.
So you got that, and then what are you surrounding him with? You gutted you gutted everything to get the big three. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna have to make it work. You're going to have to put more effort on the defensive end, not just call out your teammates. You're going to have to make that effort. Right. And if you can't be willing to sacrifice and make that, then we all know exactly what we thought about you in Houston. You're not a winner. You're not going to do what it takes to get to that level.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I 100% agree with you, man. Like I've always had the same opinion about James Harden from day one. Is that the talent level is out of this world. Like we've never seen a guy can be able to score like that at that size, right? Other than Allen Iverson and stuff like that, 6'4", 6'5" maybe. You know, this guy's scoring ability is tremendous, but his leadership qualities are terrible. He doesn't have any. And we saw players take shots at James Harden out the door in Houston. You had guys like Boogie Cousins that was there. He's been there for a cup of tea, right? Hasn't been there long, and is already throwing shade at guys like James Harden. John Wall, who he's had his issues in Washington, but we've never heard him be a bad teammate. I don't think he's a bad teammate.
Not at all.
It's just that his style of play is not the best. But for those guys to be able to say, yeah, man, he wasn't even trying to win. He wasn't even trying to give this a chance. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah. Come on. You can't come into a situation like that. You can't handle yourself like that. But not for nothing too. This is my problem with NBA superstars and how the NBA is now, is because the coaching does they don't hold superstars accountable anymore. Like they don't. Back in the day.
They don't. They're babysitters.
Bro, and it's terrible. Like it can't be like that. Like if I can't hold you accountable, then what am I coaching for?
Well, it's kind of like it's kind of like baseball, right, Brandon? It's like, we don't have the Tommy Lasordas. We don't have the Buck Showalters anymore. We don't have those type of managers that get into their players' faces and really try to motivate their guys like that. We have guys that are, we understand how the players feel, and we have to make sure that we coddle their egos. And like, no, I'm a manager. If you don't do things my way,
then you ain't playing.
You're going to be sitting on that bench.
Yeah.
Sitting on that bench, and I'll call up some kid from the minors to be able to take your spot. I don't care how much money you're making.
Like that's how it needs to get back to, because there's no accountability when you see how the players. I mean, look at Kyrie, bro. Kyrie literally said, like, you don't need a coach. Like,
anybody can coach. What?
Like, everyone's like, what? Like, when you hear that kind of stuff, you could already tell that players definitely don't have any kind of respect for their coaches. Like,
right.
And that's why I love Tibbs, because they're clearly buying in, and that's the difference that you see. And when you hold people accountable, you see how the players will play for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to play the players who want to play for you, and that's the way it should be.
Absolutely. Definitely agree with you. Moving the topic to the All-Star game, we're hearing a lot of players speaking out about All-Star weekend, that they don't want to participate in All-Star weekend. They don't think it's something that should be played this year. I think Adam Silver is in a tough spot. They have to honor their TV contracts and stuff like that. The NBA they're not making a ton of money right now. A lot of sports are suffering. Obviously, the NFL doesn't suffer like that, but we're going to see baseball suffer a little bit too. Hockey, basketball is going through it. What are your thoughts about the All-Star game? Are you on the player side of it, or are you on the commissioner side, and as well as the fan side of it? Because there's a lot of people that say, hey, listen, this is a game for the fans. This is like fan appreciation weekend where you're giving back. So where do you stand on this particular topic?
Honestly, I stand on the player side, because it's like, of course, as a fan, do I want to see it? Yeah, but you got to understand, let's put everything into perspective. We're going through this whole global pandemic. You know what I'm saying? They just did the whole, you seen how they did the bubble and everything. And then now they had to, they didn't want to start the season until like January, and then they had to start it earlier.
Right.
So with that being said, yes, give them the time to rest, because they're going to need it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? They're going to need, it's just too many games. Like, nobody's ever done that, where when did the bubble end? In August?
Yeah, it was a shortest time turnaround for
in the history, in sports history.
Sports history, 71 days. It was 71 days.
So it's like, you can't do that now. God forbid, if something happens to one of these players, a major player like LeBron or something like that in this All-Star game, then you're going to be wishing that you didn't have it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you don't ever want it to get to that point. I just feel like rest is a must.
Yeah.
Rest is a must. And I'm siding with the players wholeheartedly on it, because I feel like if you were promised something in the beginning, then you should have stayed true to your promise. And then all of a sudden, now we're having the game. Because before we weren't having the game.
Exactly. Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so at least if from the get-go, when they agreed on it, I can understand. They'll be like, okay, well, we signed up for this. We knew we were playing the All-Star game, so we know how to take care of our bodies. Now you just put this on us. It's coming up really fast, and it's like, I'm not trying to do this. Like, and I get them. And listen, I get the players 100%. As a fan, yes, I want to see it, but I understand where they're coming from, and they're not robots, bro. They're human beings. They need rest.
Yeah. I'm with you. I think I side with the players. I think universally in every sport during this pandemic, we don't need an All-Star game. In baseball, we don't need an All-Star game. Hockey, we don't need an All-Star. Like, just make it until we can be able to have more than 25% capacity in regards to fans being in the stands, or whatever they have it at now.
Right.
Just hold off. Like, if you have an agreement or an arrangement with these TV deals, these TV contracts, listen, everybody has to adjust going forward with what's going on with this COVID. Like, if you guys want to kind of do something a little different for the All-Star weekend, have a little bit more virtual interaction between fans and the players, have a 2K tournament between the players and fans, do something like that where they can be able to still enjoy time with their family, rest, but also give the fans some type of appreciation weekend where, they can have some type of interaction with the players and still be nominated an All-Star or whatever it is. Like, there's a lot of things that the NBA can be able to do. Have a friggin' talent contest, have a rap contest, like, have so many different things. I have a rap battle. Like, you can be able to have all the players that are artists. They can be able to have do something like that. But to have the All-Star game or All-Star weekend, I just think that it just doesn't make sense this year.
Nah, it doesn't make sense this year. The only thing I feel bad is for the newcomers or for the people who never even got to the
Yeah.
bubble. You know what I'm saying? So they're well rested. So of course they want to keep playing. So that's what I'm saying. There's two sides to it, but in the whole realm of everything, it's just not a good idea.
Yeah, man. I definitely agree. I definitely agree with you, man. So who do you think is going to represent the NBA finals this year? Who gets out the East? Who gets out of the West?
Well, I mean, I hate the Lakers, bro, but I think they're gonna repeat. I just think they are. That's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. But from the East, I don't know who the hell's coming out the East. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like the East just looks. I honestly don't know. I don't believe in the 76ers because I don't believe in Doc Rivers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't. Like he'll always find a way to choke. Like, so I just don't believe in that 76ers team. Like,
Yeah.
Embiid cannot be the focal point and Ben Simmons can't shoot. So it's kind of like the same thing with Giannis. It's like he can't shoot either. So it's like when you know how it is when you're playing half court and you're just trapping the man, like he can't shoot the ball.
Yeah.
So and then Chris Middleton, is he that second guy? Is he really that second guy? So I just honestly, man, I really don't know who is gonna come out the East. I don't think it's gonna be Miami again.
Yeah.
But I honestly don't know. Obviously the team everybody wants to make it is gonna be Brooklyn.
Yes.
But I don't know if they're gonna be able to because they can't play any kind of defense.
Right.
So in a 7-game series, like I don't know.
The buyout market is going to be very important for the Nets to see who they get. In a 7-game series, listen, they're going to be tough to beat. But
oh yeah, 100%.
The thing with me is that the best ability is availability. And is Kyrie going to be there? And James Harden is going to be there physically, but mentally we know that he collapses in the playoffs. So the only one that you can be able to rely on consistently is Kevin Durant. So we'll see what happens with Brooklyn. But I said that from the gate, once this trade went down, I said they're still not better than Milwaukee. They're still not better than Boston. And
Boston's a big letdown this year.
They are, but I still will take Boston over Brooklyn. I would. And, the Sixers are surprising. That's a push too. I want to see how Doc Rivers can be able to
I think 76's X factor is Tobias Harris. I think how he performs in the playoffs is gonna dictate how that team does.
Well, that's true. And Doc Rivers, that's one of his favorites. When he had him in LA, Tobias was really good with the Clippers when he was there. So
he was.
We'll see, man. We'll see. But I agree with you that it's a toss up in the Eastern Conference, which makes for possibly a good playoff run. You know what I mean?
No, definitely. Yeah. I just can't give you who I know in the East because I really don't know. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know.
Well, I guess I'll ask you this: do the Knicks make the playoffs?
As of right now, I think they could fight for that play-in. Somewhere around 8 and 9. I think they're going to be around 8 and 9 all year. Yeah. I think that's a definite possibility.
Okay.
I think they're going to be competitive enough to stay within, that range, but I got to see what else they're going to do because I know they're not going to stand pat. Like Tom Thibodeau wants to win. He wants to win now. Like You can tell that's that mentality because that's how he feels, the culture can change is by giving the young kids a winning mentality.
Right.
So I feel like they're not done with trades. I think they're still going to make some more trades. I don't know if it's going to be big superstars, but we'll see. And then, depending on who they get, if they get anybody else, will also dictate where they would move in the standings.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, before we close out, I like to finish off with some rapid fire. So, I'm just going to name off some names and you tell me who you would rather have over the other, right? So, let's see. I'm just going to spit off some stuff. Herm Edwards or Rex Ryan, head coach for the Jets?
Shit. Damn. Give me Herm, man. Give me
I'll get you Herm Edwards. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Give me man.
All right. Vinny Testaverde at quarterback or Chad Pennington?
Oh, Chad Pennington. That's not hard for me.
Okay. Let's see. Better running back, Curtis Martin or Edgerrin James?
Curtis Martin, man.
Listen, that's a Jet bias right there. That's a Jet
Yeah,
bias.
no, Curtis Martin, man. It's not close. I love my man Curtis, man. He was the truth, bro. He was the truth before he became a Jet.
I agree. I definitely agree. Let's see. Let's stick with the NFL. Randy Moss or Terrell Owens?
Randy Moss.
Okay. Tom Brady or Joe Montana?
Tom.
Tampa Tom?
Not Tampa Tom, but Tom.
He's now Tampa Tom. I can't. That's it. That's it. Damn Tom Brady. I hate him. Let's move on to Major League Baseball. This is gonna be a tough one for you. Tino Martinez or Albert Pujols?
Tino.
Wow.
Tino.
Wow.
And I'm not saying Tino wasn't a better overall hitter than Albert, but he was more clutch.
Yeah.
And he was a better defender.
I agree.
So that's the only reason why I'm going Tino, purely off of being a winner.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. Roger Clemens or Pedro Martinez?
Shit. Damn, man. Roger, man.
You going Roger? Okay.
I love Pedro, no disrespect, but Roger, when he was in Boston, bro, those young years, yo, he was something different.
Definitely, man. I agree. This may be a tough one too. Nolan Ryan or Randy Johnson?
Oh, that ain't tough for me. Nolan.
Okay. I'm with you on that one too. This one may be. I don't know. I know who you're gonna pick, but I'll say it anyway. Mike Trout or Ken Griffey Jr.
Oh, Ken Griffey.
Okay.
Ken Griffey. I mean, he's my favorite player. I would never pick anybody over my favorite, even if I thought he was a little better. Nah. Yeah. But I don't think Mike Trout's better than Ken Griffey.
No, I agree. Barry Bonds or Hank Aaron?
That's tough. That's actually really, really tough.
They're very comparable.
Very, very tough. But I think I'm going to have to give the slight edge to Barry only because of that 70 home run year. I mean, you couldn't pitch to the man, bro.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like that.
You know what's crazy is that the 73 year wasn't better than the year that he had after.
Yeah. 100%. What did he have, like 200 walks or some crazy?
230 intentional walks.
Yeah, like that's unheard of, bro.
And still hit 45 home runs.
That's unheard of. Like there was a point you couldn't pitch to that man, bro. Yeah, so that's why I'm gonna give the edge to Barry. Might be the greatest baseball player of all time.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. Let's get to basketball here. Tim Duncan or Kevin Garnett?
Oh man, damn. I'm gonna have to give the slight edge to Timmy, man.
Okay, Timmy gets a slight edge.
Damn, man.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Let's see. I don't want to give you any easy ones because the Jordan thing is boring to me. I don't want to do that. Okay.
Well, you could because I might not pick him.
Yeah, listen. I don't even want to speak his name on my podcast. Okay, he's great, but we're not gonna speak his name. LeBron James or Magic Johnson?
LeBron.
Okay, that's fair. Better big man, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or Hakeem Olajuwon?
In my opinion.
Your opinion.
Honestly, I like Hakeem the Dream better, but but Kareem is fucking Kareem. Excuse me, shit. Yeah, damn, man. Give me Kareem. I just feel like Hakeem don't get his just due.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Okay, that's
fair.
fair.
But give me Kareem, man.
That's fair. Reggie Miller or Ray Allen?
Bro, don't know if you know this about me when I was a kid, but I used to be a big Reggie Miller fan.
Oh my goodness! Don't let people hear you, man.
I ain't gonna front, like real talk. Like my mom's gonna even tell you the story, bro. I cut my hair off bald to be like Reggie Miller one year, bro. My brother cut all my hair off bald, so I gotta go Reggie because I loved Reggie as a kid.
Yeah.
Reggie Miller was one of my. Bro, like Ray Allen is probably one of the greatest shooters of all time.
Right.
But I don't know. I love Reggie.
Right.
I'm gonna have to say Reggie.
Okay. Last one. This is a good one. I love this one. Steph Curry or Allen Iverson?
It's got to be Steph. As much as I love Allen Iverson, bro. I mean, listen, man, he'll never be the shooter that Curry is.
Right.
But Allen Iverson took that dog crap of a team to the finals.
And remember, Allen Iverson wasn't even 6 feet tall, and he has a career average of 27 points a game. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. But Steph Curry, like just like you talked about that GOAT talk and how a man has, revolutionized the sport. He's done that, bro.
Yeah.
He's done that. Like he literally has done that. So I have to say Steph Curry.
Okay, that's definitely fair. And last but not least, who do you think is the greatest athlete of all time in any sport?
Yeah, I never even thought about that question. That's a hard question, man.
Off the top of your head, man. That's it.
Honestly, I don't even know who I would say now, but if I was a kid, I would always say Muhammad Ali.
Okay, that's fair.
As a kid, like that's who, like, to me, that's who I looked at as, like, he transcended a lot of things.
Like the gold standard, yeah.
Yeah, so I would have to say him when I was younger. Now, as an adult, it's got to still be Jordan, man.
Okay.
In my eyes.
Okay.
See, it's either Jordan or Gretzky.
Yeah. Well, listen, that's fair. I think Gretzky revolutionized hockey to me.
Oh yeah. Like when you talk about like greatest of all time, I think the three that you mentioned is Jordan, Gretzky, and probably Joe Montana before Tom Brady.
Yeah.
With the 7 rings, those are the three that like you always knew.
Right. Okay. Those are good answers, man. I'm not, like I said, this is not a conversation where I'm going to dispute it. This is your opinion, and that's fine. But Brandon, it's been a pleasure, man. We were, we had fun on this podcast, man. So it was,
definitely
it was great to have you on, and I'll definitely have you on again, man.
Most definitely, man. I appreciate it, brother.
All right.
Keep doing what you do.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
All right, brother. I'd
like to thank my man Brandon for coming on the show. Like I said, I've known him forever. It's always a pleasure talking sports with him because, me and him have the same ideals on some things, on most things, but there's things that we don't agree on, and it gets real, you know what I mean? But definitely shouts to him. Good dude. The only problem is he's a Knicks fan, so and a Yankee fan. And a Rangers fan. You know what? Never mind. He's not a good dude. Coming up after the break, the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week, on a Saturday. It's all even.
Yo, it's your man DJ G Money from that Flip the Script podcast. You see it? We in the studio right now. Flip, shut up. Yeah. Oh, listen. Shout out to the All Even podcast. My man Barry Grant Jr. What's up, man? What happened? What you want to say to the people?
Shout out somebody else's podcast?
Yeah, don't get the joint. What's up?
All Even.
All Even podcast.
Yo, it ain't even up here, boy. We put this yo something. All Even. Yo, you. Oh my God. What's up with you, man? Now that's a shout out. You keeping this?
Yeah, keep all that. You want to jump in
All
the
Even
camera?
podcast, right?
Yeah, All
Shout out
Even.
to All Even podcast, right? All Even. That's your man.
My man.
All right, shout out to All Even podcast.
100%. He cool. Is he cool? Let me see. Is he cool?
Yeah. What are we doing, G? I said about G.
This is Cigar Gents and Gals. Just want to give a shout out to All Even Podcast, the best sports podcast out there. Keep up the amazing work. Also check us out at cigargentsandgals.com. We're everyday apparel for cigar smokers. Let's get it.
What's going on? What's up with you? It's your boy, the Candyman, the ALFRE to the D. It's your boy, Alfred from the Rap Lab Podcast.
And it's the one and only True G. Just call me the QG from the Rap Lab Podcast.
And you tuned in to All Even with Barry Grant.
Boy, that shit crazy.
Welcome back, y'all. So without further ado, the greatest segment on the planet, Dummy of the Week.
Dummy.
We pick candidates on Tuesday and Saturday, and then we pick the winner on that Saturday show. So, had no winner or candidate on Tuesday because there was no show. But we have one today. And man, is it a good one. May I have the drum roll, please? And the winner is Chris Doyle, former strength and conditioning coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm going to throw somebody else in here too. Urban Meyer, head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Both of these dudes are my, because Chris Doyle was at the University of Iowa, strength and conditioning coach, and there was a lot of stuff that went on there. You know, players said that he was racist towards the black players. He mistreated the black players. He bullied the black players. He did a lot of bad stuff there, and he was, released out of his contract. They bought him out. Hasn't been in football for a while, and all of a sudden, Urban Meyer comes along and says, "Hey, Chris, want a job?" "Yes." "Okay, you're hired." So let me get this straight. A guy can be able to be racist and intimidate, mistreat, bully, and then get rewarded with a buyout. So he got like over $1 million from the University of Iowa for doing that. That's an actual reward, isn't it? So you can be able to be a jerk, be all these things, and still walk away with $1 million. Cool mill. And then everything is swept under the rug in regards to his buddy Urban Meyer. Oh, it's all right that you can be racist and do all of these things. You're my friend for 20 years, so you're going to have a job. If this is not the epitome of white privilege, I don't know what is. I wonder if this guy was black and did this to a bunch of white players, if he would actually ever sniff the light of day of having a head coaching job or any type of job around that particular sport or any sport. I wonder how that would go. However, Urban Meyer thought that he can be able to sling his power around, right? And hire a guy that he knows for 20 plus years and he's a good guy. Good guy and he's a racist. I don't understand how both of those things go together. But the fact that Urban Meyer thought that Jacksonville was so desperate to be able to be on the good side of Urban Meyer that they went along with this hire. Well, good thing about the media nowadays is that they don't forget. They don't forget. And this was not sitting well with a whole bunch of people. And he then stepped down or resigned due to he didn't want to be a distraction. So it wasn't the fact that he's a racist prick. It's the fact that he didn't want to be a distraction. That's the narrative they're going with. See where I'm getting here? So the fact that his checkered past ain't the problem. It's a distraction. I wonder what black player would have been able to look this guy in the face and be like, "Yeah, I'll take advice from you. I'll be able to take all my strength and conditioning knowledge from you and apply it to my training regimen." No. What would have happened is that one of those black players would have punched him in the mouth, and they would have been justified doing so. Because this is the thing. People can be able to say, "Oh, I apologize. That's not enough. Some people don't have to forgive you. You can apologize until the cows come home. They don't have to accept your apology. And I think that's exactly where this dude is. Grand opening, grand closing.
Step into my office.
Why?
Because you're fucking fired.
Got hired and fired in a span of 24 hours. It's great. But the thing is, with Urban Meyer, we're starting to see something now. He took this job because it was a great situation. You have Trevor Lawrence and you have all this money. Oh, I'm Urban Meyer. I can be able to flex my power. We're going to see how successful you are. Because once you start to struggle, people are keeping score. So maybe in a couple of years, you're going to be like, oh, well, I have a medical condition, so I have to walk away from the game. That'll be your excuse here too. Just like I was an excuse everywhere else. You can definitely know a lot about a person with the company that they keep. And if this is the guy that Urban Meyer considers a friend, you Jacksonville players better be very, very careful. But Chris Doyle, I'm telling you, you may be out of a job right now, but you already know my tagline. Burger King is hiring. They're always hiring. And I would love for you to pull that racist nonsense in the back with those people because they like to fight. People and employees at Burger King love to fight. So I don't know if you want to bring that type of smoke back there flipping those burgers, my man. And for the head coach, I'm telling you, this is a bad way to start your regime. Start the Urban Meyer era. Can't wait to see how this dumpster fire is going to turn out. I hope that Trevor Lawrence ends up panning out the way everybody thinks it is. Because if he doesn't, you already know what's going to happen. Urban Meyer is going to be like Red Fox. Oh, Elizabeth, this is the big one. And definitely going to quit. I'm telling you. So Urban Meyer and Chris Doyle, you guys are public enemy number one and two big idiots right now. But you are winners, big winners for Dummies of the Week. That's all for this show. That's all for this week. I'll see y'all next week. And until then, stay safe, stay cool. Peace. You can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at All Even Podcast. Listen to the show on Anchor, Spotify, SoundCloud, and wherever podcasts are available. And check out my YouTube channel, All Even Podcast. And don't forget to share, like, and hit that subscribe button.